Welcome, everybody, to Personal Effects. This is a great place to learn about collectibles. Isn't it, John?
I agree with you. A great place. I'm pro this place when it comes to collectibles. Hey, talk about Judaica. Now, Judaica is very important when in a category of collecting. Why? Because as you can see, it can be very decorative, but it also helps preserve Jewish heritage. So a little bit later on, we're going to look at 200 years of Jewish heritage and learn a lot, too.
Look forward to seeing some of these pieces.
Yeah.
And one of our guests brought this in, John. I was kind of thinking, honey, they shrunk the teacup. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think you've just grown. Maybe that's what it is.
But we'll find out. It could have a big appraisal. You never know.
You never know.
I'm going to get ready for our next appraisal.
You do that. In the meantime, we're going to go way out to Bakersfield, California. About 3,000 miles, I think it is, to Bakersfield, where Al Haynes is standing by with today's super collector. Al, you got a cup of coffee there? What is that?
I do. You know, a lot of us use a cup of coffee or tea to get us going in the morning. Well, two gentlemen in the late 1800s used cups of coffees and teas as a way of building a foundation, a huge business foundation, and an empire in the late 1800s. We are with our super collector, Lonnie Lemons. Lonnie, tell us more about the Jewel Tea Company.
Well, the Jewel Tea Company started in 1899 with horse-drawn vehicles, and they went from door to door and sold products, food, to the housewife. And they also offered premiums for other items.
Okay, and so how long ago did you begin collecting?
We began collecting about 7 years ago.
Why?
Well, it was this little item right here that got us started.
Really?
My mother-in-law gave to my wife a Latin teapot, and we had it in our house and in our collection, or in our household. Mm-hmm. And as we would go out looking for antiques, my wife would always stop and say, "Oh, that's Jewel Tea." And finally one day I said, "If you're going to look at it, we might as well start collecting." And,
yeah.
And we went off to the races.
Okay, so now with 300 or more products later in the collection?
Yes, at least that.
All right, it was a lot of knowledge also, so we're going to see a few of these items and learn a lot about that era of Jewel Tea.
Well, Lonnie, is this collection spread throughout the house, or where do you keep it?
We've decorated the whole house with it. We have some in the bathroom. We have some in the bedroom, some in the den. We have some in the hall.
And you use it every day?
Some we use every day, yes.
And we're in the kitchen right now. Is that where you are?
We're in the dining room.
Oh, you're in the dining room. All right. Yeah, I'm seeing a little peek of it there. We'll check in with the two of you later on. Thanks a lot, Al.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Lonnie. All right. Claire, do you know anything about the Jewel Tea Company? Is this new to you, too?
It is very new to me. But I feel like we should be drinking tea during the show, John.
Yeah, well, we can arrange that.
Well, we do have a little teacup here that will hold a little bit of tea. And let's introduce our ace appraisers of the day. We're very pleased to have Judith Katz-Schwartz and Zelichowski with us. And are you ready for our first appraisal?
Absolutely.
Okay. Are you in a tea kind of mood?
Desjardins, please.
Desjardins, please. And let's say hello to Linda. Nice to have you with us.
Thank
Do
you.
you collect cups and saucers by any chance?
This is my grandmother's. I inherited her teacup collection when she died. And I've always been curious about this. It's a Shelley. And I've never seen, well, I've seen one other one in all the years that I've been looking, and I've had this for about 10 years.
Well, I'd like to find out more about it as well.
This is just for a spot of tea. Just about what it will hold is a little spot of tea, a sip of tea. It's for teeny tiny little teacup collectors. This is from Shelley Potteries, which is a Staffordshire potter. And they began in 1925 and later on became part of the Royal Dalton Company, as so many other companies did. This particular set was made probably in the late 40s, just before they were absorbed. And it's very pretty. This is transferware. It's not hand-painted. It's got a little transfer design on it.
Yes, the piece definitely looks late 40s, early 50s in terms of its style. Shelley went strong until like the mid-1960s when, as Judith said, they were absorbed by other companies. They're primarily known for a lot of what's called chintzware, which is the entire cup and saucer are literally covered with flowers, minute flowers, and that's their more popular. This set looks like it was made for the collectible market. Oftentimes tea companies not only put out entire sets, but just individual, quote, collectible cup and saucers.
But most of what they did were regular size teacups, or?
Generally, teacups and demi-tasse size, and this is even smaller than that.
Demi.
Yeah.
This is like child size.
But it's not part of a tea set, is it?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. I think it was meant as a gift, that you bought the cup and saucer for your collection.
And how much would you pay then versus now?
Oh, you probably paid just a few dollars then, and now it's probably in the $25 range.
I would agree $20 to $25 on this one.
Thank you so much for bringing in your set. Would you like to put it up for sale?
Yes, I would.
We will do that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Pleasure to have you here. And we have a bid line number to tell you about. She's selling. If you're buying, give us a call at 212-802-0082. And Jerry has something he'd like to have appraised. Hi, Jerry. Good to have you with us. And what do you collect?
A little of everything.
Anything and everything.
Anything and everything.
Please tell us about the watch you brought
Well, I was over at a friend's house, and he showed me it, and I was interested. It took a little while to get it out of him, but...
You got a good deal?
Yes, I did. A very good deal.
This is an old English piece. It was made by a watchmaker named Edward Pryor, who operated from around 1825 to 1865. And this watch was probably made before 1860 because it's a key wind watch, and they lost popularity after 1860 or so.
Too difficult winding them up?
Oh, I guess they just had newer developments, you know, and it comes apart into all these pieces. This is the outer case, which is a very interesting shape, and it has in here, there's some kind of writing, which we can't make out because it's very badly deteriorated. But there are also hallmarks throughout the watch, especially right in here, and they indicate that this case is sterling.
I wish we could see some of the writing, because oftentimes that indicates jewelers' work on the watch. When the watch was cleaned and or repaired, they would just very finely jot in the dates, and that often helps at least get an idea of the range of the age of the watch. It's a very unusual piece. Unfortunately, it's not in working condition, and I wish it were.
Give us a sense of the value in non-working condition.
I'm going to say about $400 to $500. You know, if it is, you know, working, I'd be up toward the thousands.
I think Rich is absolutely right. $400 to $500 as it is, and if you can get this thing repaired and working again, you're talking more in the $2,000.
How much would it cost to repair?
That depends on what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
Okay. It might be worth your while to have it repaired. You could put it up for sale today, though, if you'd like.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And Diana is joining us with some kind of work of art. Hi, Diana. Hi. Nice to have you here. What did you bring in?
Picture.
And where'd you get it?
A neighbor gave it to me.
Oh, okay. Did your neighbor tell you anything about it?
No.
Well, these were very popular in the 50s, these copper pictures, and they were done by going behind the copper here and punching out the design by pushing it from the back. In silver, this would be called repoussé work. And it was actually a highly skilled art, although it could also be done by machine. You could have a three-dimensional plate, and you would just press the copper over it. I think what's of real value here is the frame, which is really quite lovely.
Exactly. The frame looks like it's typical late Victorian, early 20th century. It's a very nice walnut frame. The copper could be early, but it definitely looks like it's machine-made rather than hand-punched because of the smoothness and clarity of both the front and back there. But I like the frame more than I like the copper there.
Okay, the frame is more valuable. What would you say for the frame?
Value on the whole kit and caboodle there at about $75 to $100, somewhere in there.
I think the frame's just a touch better than that. I'm going to say 100 to 1 1/4. The frame is really where the value is.
Well, somebody might be interested in the frame. They might be interested in what's inside of the frame and the whole package if you'd like to put it up for sale.
Sure.
Thank you. Nice having you with us today.
Thank you.
And now it is time for the Collector's Update.
On Saturday, Sotheby's is going to be rocking the house as they're having an auction of rock and roll memorabilia. And this stuff is really great. So here's a preview for you right now. Rock and roll has been tops since the 1950s, and rock and roll memorabilia has played along. This Saturday, Sotheby's Auction House in New York City will rock with a sale of memorabilia from musical legends.
What we do best with really are the classics, the Beatles, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin. We are trying to experiment with more contemporary musicians to see what happens.
Strum the same strings the Stars did. The sale features more than 20 autographed guitars from bands like the Rolling Stones, The Who, and the Beach Boys, which start at $700. Let's see here. What's on my wish list? Oh, how about something from, say, Bruce Springsteen? This jacket, worn during the Born in the USA tour, starts at $2,000. And you don't even get sleeves. And Madonna is in the limelight. Her 1987 tour dress tops the price list at $16,000. Center stage is Beatlemania. Liner notes, animation cells, and gold albums of the Fab Four are up for sale. One highlight, John Lennon's harmonica that was a gift from his sister, starts at $2,000. The entire sale is expected to top $400,000. Well, now it is the gift-giving season, so if anyone would like to buy the Bruce Springsteen stuff for me. Sotheby's will be accepting phone and fax bids. Stay with us, folks. When Personal FX returns, we have some great appraisals we got to get to. Now, you see this blue thing right here? You see? Take a second look at it. Take a third look. Its owner likes it because it's crooked. We'll find out if that matters in the value. We also have some items out in Bakersfield, California that we're going to learn about, so stay with us.
And it is time to round up those late bids. Sarah's Madame Alexander doll was appraised by Ron and Bob for $500. Christine from Rock Hill, New York bid $200, and Sarah said she's thinking about it. Out in California, for Randy's cap gun, Ron and Bob shot out a value of $500. Claire's bid of $325 from Salem, Oregon was enough to make Randy at least want to think about it. And John, I really want to tell you, if I hadn't already bought your Christmas gift, honestly, I would have done the Bruce Springsteen memorabilia.
A likely excuse. She already bought it indeed, yeah. All right, let's go out to California where Lorraine has joined us. Hi, Lorraine, how are you?
Oh, I'm just fine, thank you.
Great. What'd you bring to have appraised?
I brought a Cupid doll that I had about 1940s. I got it when I was about 5.
Wow, it looks like you kept it in good condition, huh?
Yes, I have. It's got the original dress on it, too.
That's amazing. What do you two think?
Well, I think we'd like to see any marks if possible. And also, can we get a close look at the face? Is that a chip under the eye over there on the face? This is going to be important.
Shine, maybe. Let's see.
Just a shine?
Yeah, it's
okay.
just a shine.
Are there any marks on the doll that we can see?
I mean,
trademarks of any kind, something that says who the manufacturer is? I can tell you looking at it that it's made of composition, so...
Yes. I think it was made by the Cameo Doll Company.
Does it have a label to that effect?
I don't know for sure, but I just know they were made by
Okay,
Cameo.
that's kind of important because there are many, many, many Kewpie imitators, and lots of people put out Kewpie-type dolls, and unless it has that Cameo marking and signed Rose O'Neill, we have to assume it's not a real Kewpie.
Well, where would the markings and the tags be? Maybe Lorraine can look right now.
Sometimes they're on the chest
All right.
of the doll. Sometimes they're on the back or the back of the head.
Rich, what do you think of this item?
Well, I think oftentimes it is important that it does say Rose O'Neill because she, of course, is the originator of the Kewpies. There have been Kewpie dolls since literally the turn of the century, and they've been extremely popular. And O'Neill Kewpies are the most desirable because they are, as Jude said, the Kewpie dolls, not some knockoffs. And oftentimes Kewpie has become sort of a generic word like Xerox. You know,
Yes, and also Kewpies have to have these little wings on their backs.
Lorraine, did you find any marks that we need to know about?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Okay, so then we have to treat it as a Kewpie-esque type doll. We have to say it's Kewpie-like, and we can't say for sure that it's a Kewpie.
All right, so the value?
So I would place its value, considering that it is in very wonderful condition, somewhere around $100.
I'd be a little bit more generous since it is almost 50 years old now, I suppose. Probably between 100 and 175, somewhere in there.
Okay. Well, what do you think? Do you want to take some bids on that item, or do you want to hold on to it?
I'll take some bids.
We'll do that for you. Thank you for bringing it by. We appreciate it, Lorraine.
Thank you.
All righty. And up next is Linda. Hi, Linda. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Now, what do you know about this item here that you brought?
Well, not really too much. My mother gave it to me about 30 years ago. She picked it up at a flea market.
All right.
For about $1.
For about $1? Mm-hmm. As Linda was saying earlier, it is a little crooked, and that's why she likes it.
Yes, well, this is characteristic of Fulper pottery. And that's how this is marked. This is a pottery that started in 1899, and they were out of business by 1935. So, and they only had 2 marks. So it's easy to pinpoint when this was made. And this mark says this was made between 1922 and 1928. So we know almost exactly when it was made. And they were famous not so much for the shapes, but for the glazes.
Exactly. The shapes oftentimes on most Fulper pieces that you see are just going to be really simple, almost to the point of being dull. What they enjoy doing is their high glazes, and they had fun with multicolor glazes and such. Now this has just got a little bit of brown in addition to the blue, so it's not a super intricate glaze, but it is a nice piece and very typical of Fulper pottery at the time. Generally, the value on a piece like this, and it's in great condition, I must add, there's no chips or cracks or crazing or anything like that, it's probably between $175 and $225, only because it lacks a little bit of the fancy glaze that Fulper's known for.
And I'm at the upper end of that. I'm between 2 and 2 1/4. It's a very charming piece.
Not bad for $1. Huh?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Do you want to take bids?
Yes.
All right, we'll take bids and we'll see what happens. Thank you very much for bringing that by.
Thank you.
So if you'd like to place bids on that or anything else up for sale on today's show, 212-802-0082 is the number to call. And Marie has joined us. Hi, Marie.
Hi.
How's life?
Just fine, thank you.
Good. What'd you bring?
These Roseville pottery bookends, which were from my mother-in-law's estate. They've been wrapped up for about 30 years, and when I saw that I was coming, I looked for something to bring along.
This looks like a great item.
I almost feel like we should propose a toast here, you and I,
Yeah.
right?
There you go. I can't say I've ever seen Roseville bookends.
There are some. They're not the most common pieces around. I mean, you're much more likely to find a vase or a bowl than the bookend. Here's the Roseville mark. Right here it says Roseville, USA, and there's a number down here, 358, 356. Let's see if it's 359. Okay, it's a little more clear on that one. And what's unusual from my viewpoint is the color. You don't often see Roseville with this yellow background.
Oftentimes you'll see the blues and the pinks more often than the yellows. Not too typical, not too common a color to find. These date probably from the late 1940s, early 1950s. They have the Roseville matte finish as opposed to the later glaze finish. And they do seem to be in great condition. They might stand due with just a little bit of soap and water there. But I would definitely, I'd use them. I wouldn't keep them wrapped up and hidden away. I mean, they're such beautiful bookends. It would make great conversation pieces when company comes over as well. And I often encourage people to use the items that they have because it's a shame to have them
your
packed
books
away.
aren't so heavy that they're going to knock these off the shelf. And I think that these should sell probably in the $250 to $300 range.
I'd agree in that $225, $250 area.
Very nice. Do you want to take some bids?
All right, I will.
All right, we'll take some bids and we'll let you know. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For bringing those
Thank
by.
you.
All righty. Up next is John. John, come on in. How you doing?
Fine.
Where are you from?
Trumbull, Connecticut.
Welcome. What do you got here?
I have an old picture I picked up at a junk store in upstate Connecticut.
Well, there's a lot going on in this picture, John. I must say, there's some kind of gathering. There are hordes of people in the background, and as far as pictures go, the more activity there is, the more desirable a picture is. So in that respect, it is. And it's an ink on paper. And I believe it's a reproduction print. Reproduction of what? I'm not sure.
And it's religious in nature, and thus that affects the value just a little bit because there isn't a high market on this typical turn-of-the-century religious items that were extremely popular at the time. Also, I'm looking at the frame, and I'm wondering, looking at the top of the frame, wondering if there was originally something else, even a crest of some sort built onto the top there.
There's
because
a couple of screw holes.
Yeah,
in the
you
top
notice
here.
some markings there, and I do admire the fact you referred to it as a junk store. Rather than a thrift store.
That's my favorite kind of store, junk store.
But the value-wise on this, I think, is purely decorative, and I'm going to say between $25 and $30, somewhere in that ballpark.
I agree with Rich. I think, although it's very attractive, I think that it was a mass-produced item. It was one of these things that everybody had in their home, and so I don't think that it's particularly rare. So now if you can go out and destroy everyone else's copy, then the value of yours will go way up.
Well, now there's some good advice. Go out and destroy everybody else's collectible. Do we recognize this scene or this moment? You were saying it's religious in nature.
Well, it looks almost biblical.
It.
I mean, the scene here in the foreground resembles the Last Supper, but they had a lot of company. And this indeed was the Last Supper.
And there's some kind of oratory going on here, and some people are really affected by what's going on. They're just scandalized. So.
Well, do you want to take bids on this?
Sure.
All right, we'll take bids and we'll see what happens.
Never seen it before, so we'll see what
it's fascinating. You can look at this thing forever, I think. Thank you very much for bringing that by. Appreciate that. All right, we're going back out to Bakersfield, California, where Isle Haynes has given us a preview of today's super collection of Jewel Tea memorabilia. Isle?
John, the Jewel Tea Company originally started out by selling food products door to door, while later on they went to household products like this plate here. This is the autumn leaf pattern. It was very popular back in the 1930s, and it's very popular with collectors today. When we come back, we're going to learn more about the Jewel Tea Company history and products here in Bakersfield, California on Personal FX.
Unbelievable. This is amazing. Did you know that a Jewel Tea Company cornflakes box, it's a cornflakes box, it fetched $300 at a recent auction in Boston, Massachusetts, and our super collector Lonnie has one.
Well, there must have been a reason it was worth $300.
Yeah, I'm sure there
Hopefully
is.
Lonnie can help us out.
Well, it's good tasting cereal. That's what it's about. Let's go out there and see some more of this Jewel T memorabilia aisle. Oh, there it
Lonnie
is.
can definitely help us out because he has so much experience and knowledge in the subject. You started out just collecting, but you had to learn about it also, right?
Yes, we spend at least $300 a year on just information.
Wow. So tell us about this cornflakes box.
Well, this cornflakes box came out in the early 1900s, and according to the Historical Society, there are only 2 of them known until we found this one, and then the 4th one that surfaced was at the Boston
Really?
auction.
So why is it? Is it because there are so few out there? Is that why
rare,
it's so
yes.
rare? Oh, that's
Right.
incredible. Yes, John.
Hey, I just want to ask real quick, Lonnie, you seem to have that thing sealed in plastic. That's the way to go with those cereal boxes?
Well, what we do, we try to protect the product because it's made out of paper, and the paper disintegrates, as you can see in this one. This is a very old product, ski roll. We have everything shrink wrapped.
Shrink wrapped, okay.
So that just protects the paper
Yes.
from deteriorating any
Yes.
further. Talk to us about the ski row
Well,
product.
ski
here.
roll is named after Skip and Ross. They were the originators of the company. And they put out a few products with ski roll label on it at about the same time that this one was. Now, ski roll is not, this product is not in real good shape, but yet it's still desirable because it's so hard to find.
Right, and the tin starts, I guess, oxidizing and
And the paper
deteriorating.
crumbles off of it.
Okay, well, let's take a look at some of your coffee products here, because these are very collectible also.
Yes, I really like our coffee collection because they're so hard to find, and the paper labels were torn off and nails were used to store in here, or flour, or beans, different things like that. So that's why it's hard to find a coffee can with a paper label on it.
If the paper label had been taken off, the only thing that you would know that it was a Jewel Tea Company
Right.
would be the lid?
Yes,
Okay.
and all the lids are marked in the older products like that.
So then after the paper labels were no longer produced, did they go to like just the regular tin can with
Yes,
the painting
key
on it?
wine,
Okay.
key wine.
Now what is this here that we're going to see?
Well, this is a carrying case that the salesman would use when he came to visit the housewife. And what we've tried to do is put some products in there that the housewife might have seen. You have floor polish, you have insect repellent, some cleanser, coffee can, box of coffee, oatmeal.
And so they would carry this everywhere they went.
When they went into the lady to
And
talk to the lady.
You even have some paper products from them, like just
Yes.
showing the items that were available.
This is a circular that they would bring in and show the housewife what they had for sale and the sale prices.
So whatever happened to this way of shopping? With Jewel Tea Company, did it go out of business eventually?
1981 it went out of business, and
Okay.
I think the reason was is because, just as we've discussed, they came in and talked to the housewife, and when the housewife went to work, there was nobody to call.
Right, they didn't change their marketing skills
Right.
with the product and the change of times.
Right.
What about this beautiful place setting that we have here? This looks so beautiful.
Well, these are 4 different patterns that were put out by Jewel Tea, sold by Jewel Tea. You have the autumn leaf pattern, which was probably the largest selling pattern in the world. It's called the Poor Man's China. Then another popular one is the Cameo Rose.
Okay.
This is done in green. This is a very old pattern.
And these,
It's called Moss Rose.
and they all have markings, various markings on them of Jewel
Most
Tea?
of them do. Some Haviland patterns are not marked.
Okay, but you only collect the ones that are.
I try to stay with ones that are marked with Jewel Tea logos.
Now I understand this butter dish is the most valuable in the whole piece here on the table?
In our collection, this is probably the most valuable piece.
Wow.
It has been marketed or sold for over $2,000.
That is great, incredible. Also because of the rareness of it?
Yes.
Okay. They also made toys.
Yes, they did.
Tell me
This is
about
my favorite part of the
Oh, really?
collection. They had all kinds of toys. This is a Tonka truck that came out in the 1950s. It's been played with. A truck in mint condition like this is listed around $1,500.
Oh, those darn kids, huh?
I
Playing
know
with the
that.
toys again.
Well, I still play with it.
You still play with it also, huh? But the toys are your favorite to collect, huh?
Yes, they are. I love that.
What about these carpet sweepers here?
Well, this is an example of some of the other items that were sold by the Jewel Tea Company. The one over here with what we call the circle bar logo is the oldest.
Okay.
Then the next one is from probably the early 20s.
Okay.
The brown one is the 40s, and then the green one is in the late 50s and 60s, and of course the little one is the Bissell Little Jewel, which was for the Little housemaker.
See, that's a toy also. Did you enjoy collecting that one?
That's more my wife.
Oh, okay. But you help with the housework anyway.
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's good. Well, Lonnie, we want to thank you so much for giving us a little history lesson and letting us see what Jewel Tea was all about.
It was my pleasure, and it was a lot of fun having you here.
Thank you.
You know what's interesting about this collection and the way you display it, Lonnie, is that some collections in the house kind of are set apart. Yours really blends in nice to the house. You really decorated nicely with it.
Well, thank you. We try to put things in the kitchen that belong in the kitchen and items that belong in the other part of the house along with it.
And you use this as a way of collecting with your wife.
Yes.
This is something you do together.
Yes, we do.
That's lovely.
And it's great to be able to travel and have the same interest.
That's great.
Well done. Thank you both very much. Enjoyed it.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Lonnie.
It was interesting how they used to sell their products. But John, I have to admit, if the choice is between toys or carpet sweepers, I go for the toys.
Yeah. I don't know, that carpet sweeper from the 50s, that was pretty
I like
cool.
the little kids one.
Oh, all right. Stay with us, folks. When Personal FX returns, we have more information and more appraisals coming your way, so don't go anywhere. Here's our schedule. The week of December 22nd, we're going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, and the week of December 29th, we'll be down in Pensacola, Florida. Those 2 weeks, we are all filled up with super collectors and people looking to have their items appraised. However, the week of January 5th, we'll be in the New York tri-state area. If you'd like to participate in that week, give us a call at 1-800-FX-FX-FX1. Tri-state. That must be New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania? Connecticut. Oh, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. There you go. All right. It is time now to clue you in on the items that are getting bids to this point. It's called the old recap. Item number 1 is the miniature cup and saucer, and this was appraised at $20 to $25, made by Shelley Potteries, late 1940s, early 1950s. That's transferware. Then there's the sterling silver pocket watch, appraised at $400 to $500. It's a key wine from before 1860, English made, does not work at the moment. We also have the copper picture, and this was appraised at $75 to $125. The value is in the walnut frame. The copper picture is probably machine made. Then we've got the composition doll, appraised at $100 to $175. Great condition, almost 50 years old. Looks like a Kewpie, but there are no marks to verify that at this point. Then we have the Pulper vase, appraised at $175 to $225. Great condition from the 1920s. Pulper is famous for its glazes. Then we've got the Roseville bookends, appraised at $225 to $300 from the 1940s to about the 1950s. The yellow color is not very common. Then we've got the framed print, and that was appraised at $25 to $30. Ink on paper, mass-produced, religious motif. That is a decorative item, and that is appraised once again at $25 to $30. If you'd like to place a bid on any of these items, here's the number to call, 212-802-0082. Time now to get back into some more appraisals. Claire, what do we got next?
Well, we're going to go out to Bakersfield, California for our next appraisal, John, and Alice is awaiting an appraisal. Hi, Alice. Good to have you with us.
Hi, Claire. How are you?
Please, very well, thank you. Please tell us about the item that you're holding up.
Well, I have a shelf, a wooden shelf here. I received it probably about 20 years ago from a cousin back in Montana, and it's all made out of wood, but I believe the back is pressed wood. I'm not really sure. And on the bottom is a towel rack that I've never seen on a shelf before. There is absolutely no markings on it. I've looked, and there's no markings at all on this at all.
Would you like her to turn it around as well to take a look at it? If you could just turn it to us. Thank you.
Well, this is, yeah, that looks as if it is pressed wood. Yes, it is. It's pressed wood masonite. That's what you call it, masonite, right? And this is a kind of a typical item that would have been made in the 40s or the 50s. That pole on the bottom, that rack on the bottom is not really all that unusual. It's a display item, probably for linens and such.
Yeah, perhaps used, you know, either in your bathroom or in your bedroom.
Commonly made at that time?
I would say so. Oftentimes they made pieces like this to go in with colonial style and early American style of furniture that was popular back then.
Kind of like yield house type.
Yeah.
How collectible today?
Well, if you have a house decorated in that style, it's quite collectible. It's an important decorative element, and it's also a useful one. So I'd say it's probably something that should fetch in the $50 range.
Rich?
I think that's a little bit of the high end. I would have said between $30 and $50.
Okay, up to about $50. Would you like to put it up for sale?
Yes, I will.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And Barbara joins us. Hi, Barbara. Nice to have you here.
Hi, how
and
are
what
you?
do you collect?
I really collect owls, but I bought these pictures. I really don't know anything about them, just that they're butterfly wings.
And where'd you get them?
My mother probably picked them up in a yard sale or something. I got them from my mother, and I would say she didn't pay more than $1 each. If something was $1, she got it for 50 cents, or if it was a quarter, she got it for 10 cents.
She got good buys.
Yes, yes.
Well, there was a time when this was a very, very popular tourist item. You know, it came from Brazil, I believe, and people would pick these up pretty cheaply in markets in Brazil, and they were made from butterfly wings. Whether you like that idea or not, I don't know. I don't think it's such a popular thing anymore.
Hopefully after the butterflies already died.
Well,
they
I
use
certainly
that,
hope
yeah.
so.
Okay.
And they probably also hasten the demise of these butterflies, so that's not an appetizing thought. But this one has a very wonderful frame.
Exactly. These are tourist items. They are reverse painted on glass with the butterfly wing decoration and the sky background throughout.
And how valuable?
In terms of value, I'm not going to put a high value on it, but probably between $25 and $30 each. I mean, they're a neat decorative element.
I agree, and I think that the one that I'm holding is probably the higher price of the two because it has the fancier frame. So probably 25 to 30 a piece.
Well, you have the option of putting it on for sale if you'd like to do that.
Yes, I would like to do that.
Okay, we'll do it. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And Michael has an old-time radio that he brought in to be appraised. Hi, Michael. Welcome to the program.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Where'd you get this?
It was my father's.
Did he tell you anything about it?
No, not really. He had it for quite a while. Most of the channels that are on it, the push button, the radio works. It's originally from Minnesota, the channels that are wrote in there.
How old a radio is this?
This looks to me like 40s or 50s. It comes from a time when we were still making radios to look like furniture. Nowadays, of course, they're made of plastic and they're still designed to go with your decor, but this was a time when they were made of wood. And it does have one little problem, and that's the back is missing. And that would have been made out of also some fiber board that would have been cut to shape.
Oftentimes the back panel too had the model number, so it would make it a lot easier to pinpoint some sort of a value. But a real radio, you know, purist, especially a Crosley collector, the name brand of this radio would probably be able to identify it quite easy. I'm wondering if this panel here over the dial is original. I doubt it. It looks like it was perhaps a
jewelry box cover.
Top. Yeah. But you can go out and buy parts for these old radios, from grills to knobs to glass casing.
Does it pay to do that in terms of you're going to enhance your value a lot?
Oftentimes it does. Perhaps not enhance the value of it monetarily, because oftentimes you know that it's replacement parts. But for your home aesthetics, you know, just to make it look a lot better, it's probably worth it. And a piece like this would probably only cost like $10, $12.
And how much for the whole radio?
I'd say the radio is probably valued at about $75 to $100. It's in nice shape.
I'd be a little more conservative because somebody has attempted to start stripping it and taking the finish off the top. So I'd say more in the $50 to $75 range.
Would you like to put it up for sale?
Well, I'll take some bids.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
All right.
And let's go back out to California where Daryl would like to have something appraised. Hi, Daryl. Good to have you with us.
Good morning.
Looks like something very pretty that you're sitting behind. Please tell us about your item.
I have a bowl and a platter, Fostoria American pattern. The ruby red is very unusual. Most of what my collection is in clear, and I was curious if anybody knew more about them.
Well, we'll try to help you out.
Well, the Fostoria company started in the late 1890s in Fostoria, Ohio, and were much later absorbed into another company. And this particular American pattern was the most popular pattern they ever made, particularly popular with World War II war brides who just loved it.
Love the color.
Loved it. Well, this color is not the most common color. There's plenty of the clear stuff out there. It's just a little harder to find this.
Exactly. The clear is plentiful. I'd say 99 out of 100 pieces of America you see is going to be clear. This ruby red kind of throws me only because you don't see it very often. It looks to be in great condition. Can you confirm that?
Oh, it's in absolute perfect condition.
Boy, a piece like this, it's a tough one. Probably between $2, $2.25, somewhere in there for the two pieces.
I agree with that. $200, $2.25, $250, something like that for these, solely for the reason that the color is so unusual.
Wonderful looking. Would you like to put it up for sale?
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you.
Okay, we'd love to do that for you. We'll let you know at the end of the program. And when we come back, Hanukkah collectibles have becoming more popular over the last 25 years. We're going to be seeing some wonderful examples in just a moment.
Join us for the Super Collectors. We do it every day at 1 o'clock. Some of the best hits of personal FX. It's the Super Collectors every day. Well, it's called the Festival of Lights, and on Tuesday night, Jewish families from all over the world will get together and light the Hanukkah lamp. And here to tell us more about this tradition and the collectibles involved, Joy Schonberg from the Joy Schonberg Galleries in New York City. Joy, nice to see you again.
Nice to be here.
How are you?
Thanks, fine.
Good, good. Tell us about the Hanukkah lamp.
Hanukkah lamp is an 8-candle lamp, and we light each night of Hanukkah, the 8 nights of Hanukkah, we light 1 candle. And it's different from the 7-candle menorah. Many people confuse the two.
The 8 candles representing the oil that was burning for 8 days. It was only supposed to burn for 1.
That's correct. It's the miracle of Hanukkah that it's burnt for 8 days.
Now, how valuable can these be? What do we have here?
We have a German 19th century silver lamp here, very rare due to its artistic elements, and worth about $3,000.
3,000 up to...
Up to 3,500, that range.
Now, you mentioned German. Here's 3 different countries. Can the different countries determine the value, help determine?
Yes, the origins definitely affect the value, especially when we talk about Eastern European pieces, such as this one.
This one here?
A 19th century Eastern European Chanukia. Very rare because pieces of this nature, many of them were lost due to the World War II, as we know the history of the Jews that were annihilated. This English piece is a 19th century one, rare due to its artistic elements, again, very uncommon to find 2 serpents and this piece in the middle.
Now this one is from?
That's from England.
England.
Worth about $4,000. The Polish one would be around $5,000 to $6,000.
And what do we have here?
Here we have a Bezalel piece made in the Bezalel School of Art in Palestine. And this comes it's made around 1920, a bit more common, but again, because of the unusual back elements, worth about $1,500.
So the country of origin really can determine the value, because we've seen a wide range here.
Very much so. It's origin, artistic, rarity, and age that come into play.
All right. Let's talk about some of the other items associated with Hanukkah. For instance, what do we have here?
This is a dreidel, spinning top, used by children, well, adults can as well, I suppose, with abbreviated Hebrew letters, abbreviations for a great miracle happened there in Hebrew.
And the value, is this easily affordable?
This one happens to be 18th century from Germany, so it's valued at around $1,500. Not so easily affordable, but definitely collectible.
Definitely.
This contemporary piece, very collectible, made by Waterford, valued $100, $120.
So this is contemporary, this item here?
Yes, and definitely very collectible.
Well, since it belongs to you, can I just go ahead and spin this and see what... No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. So the good thing about these collectibles is not only do they go up in value, but they also help people remember Jewish heritage, I think, which is very important.
Very much so, yeah.
All right. Joy, thank you so much for stopping in.
Thank you very much for having me again.
And happy Hanukkah to you.
Thank you, to you too.
All right, there you go. Claire, I'm going to send this your way so we can get into that mailbag. What do you say?
Well, we've got letters to get through, John. And we'll start out with Carol, who wrote us from Grand Forks, North Dakota. Enclosed are photos of a stein I received from a friend in the late 1970s. The stein was purchased by her husband in Italy in 1956. It measures 7 3/4 inches tall by 2 3/4 inches in diameter. The floral design on it appears to be hand-painted. The stein is made of glass with a pewter lid. The only mark on it is 031. Can you tell me more about it?
Well, it looks definitely Italian from that period. Italians came out with the heavy Murano-style glass,
Yes.
and that's what this resembles very much so. And in fact, it is hand-painted. But the fact that it's a stein, I mean, it just
Stein
sort of...
from Italy is kind of a...
This is a good-looking stein.
Yeah.
It's very pretty. It's just you don't expect to see a stein from Italy, and I would classify it as giftware.
Exactly.
How much would you expect to pay?
Oh, probably $15 to $25.
I would have said $25 in that ballpark.
Okay, very nice. Carol, thank you so much for your letter. And our next letter comes from Scott, who has written us from Jeffersontown, Kentucky. And Scott writes, I would love for the experts to appraise my Cecil the Sea Serpent doll. The doll measures 13 inches tall and is approximately 8 inches wide. On the doll is a tag that reads Mattel, Inc., Toy Makers, USA. The serpent doll is dated 1950, Bob Clampett original. Can you tell me more?
Well, first of all, I'm sorry, Claire, it's Cecil.
Cecil.
Yes, it was
So
a
sorry.
television show called Cecil
Cecil
and
or
Beanie
Cecil?
in the 60s, although these characters predate the show, and this was made in the 50s. But this thing's supposed to talk. So if it's a talking doll, it's worth about 3 times what it's worth if it doesn't talk. And since he didn't mention that this one talks, Maybe we should just give an appraisal for both.
Exactly. He looks to be well loved, but it's still in pretty decent condition. I'm going to say between $45 and $50. You don't find these too often.
Yeah, no, I would say $50 if he's not talking, and $150 if he is talking.
Cecil, you say potato, I say
Cecil,
potato.
yes.
Thank you for correcting. And next we have on the phone Paul from Chillicothe, Illinois. Hi, Paul. Welcome to the program.
Hello, Claire.
Nice to have you with us. And please tell the audience about what you'd like to have appraised.
I have a little bust that's made of marble and, what is that, Carol? Alabaster.
Alabaster, okay. And where'd you get it?
Yeah, I got it at a estate sale, and it's reminiscent more or less of the old figures from the 20s and 30s that were made from bronze and ivory, only this has an alabaster head and shoulders, and the dress is marble.
And you also said it was signed by R.
Yes.
Really and P. Fattorini.
It's signed by P.F. Fattorini.
Okay. Let's appraise it.
Well, first of all, you should know that alabaster is a soft form of gypsum, and that makes it very porous. So, like, don't keep this bust in your fish tank. And if you have an alabaster vase, don't keep flowers in it, because it will disintegrate in water eventually. Yes. And alabaster is very easily confused with marble. This is very reminiscent of the 20s or 30s.
And does the signed name mean anything to you?
It doesn't mean anything to me, but it's just because I'm not familiar with the artist.
It just screams 1920s, 1930s flapper, the style there. And Judith, that is the tip of the week. Don't keep this bust in your fish tank.
You're right, don't keep it in your fish tank.
I've learned something today, truly. But it's quite elegant. I'm sorry, how tall was it? About 6, 7 inches, did we say?
It's 7.5 inches.
Quite typical of pieces from that era. Do you have one, or usually these things came in pairs, or she had some sort of a mate?
Yes, well,
oh, okay.
I have...
Go ahead.
I have 2 of them, but one of them I have given away.
Okay. How much would you appraise this one?
I'm going to say between $100 and $115, $120, somewhere in there.
I think I'm going to go just a little higher and say more like the $200 range.
In that price range, would you like to put it up for sale?
Yes, I'd consider offers.
We'll do that for you. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we're going to be finding out about those big bids. Don't go away. Well, we've got a whole bunch of big bids to get to. Right, John?
Yes, we do.
Let's go back out to California. And we want to let you know, Lorraine, for your composition doll, Pat from Concord, North Carolina, is offering you $252.
Hey.
You could say yes, no, or I'll think about it.
No, I'll think about it.
Okay.
All right.
I like to give people options. Linda for your cup and saucer. Nancy from Whitman, Massachusetts would like it for $90.
I'll think about it.
Jerry from Sterling Silver Pocket Watch. Jenny from Los Angeles is offering you $550.
So.
Diana for your copper picture. Helen from Kalamazoo, Michigan has a bid of $100.
No.
No. No.
No, definitely. Linda for the full for vase. Rosie from Pacifica, California called in with an offer of $325.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
All right, back out to California we go, where Alice brought the wooden shelf. Alice, Linda from New Braunfels, Texas, has called in with an offer of $40.
I'll think about it.
All righty. Marie with the Roseville bookends. Wilford from Tiverton, Rhode Island, has called in with an offer of $345.
Sold.
All right. John with the framed print. Mary from Escondido, California, wants it for $35.
I'll keep it.
All right. Barbara with the butterfly wing pictures. Betty from Hoquiam, Washington, has called in with an offer of $70.70 for both.
I'll think about it.
All right. And Michael with the table radio. Ross from Lewiston, Montana, has called in with an offer of $70.
No, I'll think about it.
All right.
Thinking about it. And as he's doing that, a lot of thinking going on. We're going to go back out to California because we don't have to think about saying what a pleasure it is to have you with us, Io, with Lonnie, and learning more about Jewel Tea, which John and I didn't know about.
That's true. Lonnie, we have to all say thank you so much for taking us the time to give us this history lesson today.
Thank you for
You're
coming to
welcome. Tomorrow we're going to end the week in Bakersfield at an old-time saloon and see everything involved with a saloon.
Oh, that's cool. All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Io.
We're going to belly up to the bar?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that is our show. Thank you so much for coming in today. We had a good time, and folks, we will see you back here tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
If you'd like to be a guest, or you have a story idea or a comment, give us a call at 1-800-FX-FX-FX1, or reach us by fax at 212-802-4201.